It is the most widely accepted framework within the design community as of now. So I think on that note, let's get started without further ado. Um, yeah. So there's another quick story that I would like to share with you. It was just another day commuting into New York City. 300 passengers slowly boarded a ferry that crosses the river from C Street to Wall Street. But as the ferry approached the dock, something went wrong. Instead of slowing down, the ferry had accelerated. It rushed towards the dock at 12 knots. That would be 23 kilometers per hour. That's right. And it struck the second pier, causing a sudden jolt that sent passengers and glass derby flying across the area. When the ferry finally landed, 79 people had been injured. 79, yes. What do you think would have been a possible reason? Do you guys have any point of view or any assumptions as to what could have been a possible reason here? I'll give you a quick hint. It is something along the lines of our previous story, but would you want to give it a try? So what caused it, right? Was it a mechanical error? Not as per the investigation. Was it perhaps a breakdown in the communication or a bad process? The incident report had ruled out those possibilities as well. And now, if you must be thinking, did the captain pass the drug test and the alcohol test? So let me tell you, he did. Then what exactly was the cause? Like some of you guessed it in the chat, it was a very simple manipulation error because of a design flaw in the control panel. Earlier during the trip, the captain felt a vibration while passing near a bridge. Okay. Thinking that something might have caught in the propeller, he switched the piloting system to a backup mode that gave him manual control of the propeller blades. Now, hold on tight, guys. I'm getting to what the reason was. This is a expected and a usual procedure. However, he forgot to switch back to the normal piloting mode as the ferry reached the dock. The captain prepared the usual maneuvering approach. However, in the backup mode, this manipulation creates an acceleration instead of a deceleration. When he realized that the ferry was not slowing down, he ran to the center console thinking that he might have made a mistake while transferring the controls. But again, the ship did not respond. In seconds that he had before the crash, he ran from one control panel to another, but he couldn't figure it out. And I actually want you guys to now look at the control console. And this was the control, this was the ferry's control console. How quickly do you think you could have spotted the backup on button with the tiny indicator light among the mass of other buttons and the possible modes? Considering the situation you are in where you only have a couple of seconds. So the system should always keep users informed about what is going on through appropriate feedback, and that too within a reasonable amount of time. Like here we see the time was really important, right? That brings us to the first heuristic, that is visibility of system status. So visibility of system status is all about users knowing where they are and what is the result of action they would take, and again within an appropriate and reasonable amount of time. We are we as human beings grown in such an environment where we continuously receive feedbacks and responses for our everyday action. In fact, human needs feedback to make decisions, right, guys? We all have had those times where we have been contemplating and we have been trying to look for a feedback in order to make a decision, right? Without getting feedback, the human will be frustrated, irritated, or feel left out. And we don't want our users to experience these kind of emotions, of all the emotions, right? This is definitely not going to go in our favor. So here are some more examples to understand that in detail. In transfer, while transferring the file, it shows the circular progress bar that we all might have seen. Sometimes it takes too long, and sometimes it's like a yay moment for us. So that percentage bar is like the first feedback that also helps us understand, okay, that the file transfer has been finished and we are done, and probably that submission or that jury is good to go now. Right. Then we have the Gmail application where, again, you see the series of feedback designed for the user to show the status. And it is divided into three parts, if you see, where you're uploading the file, then you've completed uploading the file, and once it has been successfully uploaded on the system. So this basically, like you can see, helps the user understand where I am at and what is happening with the system and what is happening to my actions, like a quick feedback. And a really good example of an appropriate feedback would be an iOS jiggle mode, where the user presses for a long time on the screen, the app icon start to jiggle. This indicates that the user has switched to an editing mode from a reading mode, which is very necessary. The continuous animation helps the user to understand that a tap on the icon will not yield the same result as usual. And it is even more necessary here, because here you're kind of uninstalling or like shuffling those apps. So it has to sound different from your typical reading mode. Right. Now, I have a pro tip to this, like to add to this, where it says build trust through open and continuous communication. Guys, communication is very important. Like, even for us to, live in our daily lives, we need good and proper communication. And I'm sure, like, we all need it from the systems we use. So therefore, presenting feedback to the user as quickly as possible, almost ideally immediate, it's ideal that we do it immediately, because let's be honest, today we have very little retention rate, and the level of patience, and so much happening in social media. So an immediate feedback definitely goes a long way. Don't give system status updates if the user cannot do anything about it. Now, hear me out. This is a very important point, because sometimes a lot of systems are giving feedbacks where the user cannot take any action. Now, how is that going to really help the user? It would rather just create a utter sense of panic.